It's a debate that's raged here and all around the country for years. Should the kids of undocumented immigrants in Massachusetts be eligible for in-state tuition? And it was once again at the center of debate today at the State House, as 6 bills on the subject went before the Joint Committee on Higher Education. Joining me now are the sponsors of 2 of them. Representative Marc Lombardo, he's a Republican from Billerica, who wants to restrict in-state tuition eligibility to U.S. citizens and permanent residents only. Good to see you, Representative.
Nice to see you.
Senator Linda Dorecena Forry of Dorchester wants to expand eligibility to those who meet certain criteria, among them tending for 3 years and having graduated from a Mass high school, promising to pay income taxes or file them, and applying for citizenship. Senator, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Democratic House crushed this thing, rejected it just a couple of years ago. Why is it going to be any different this time?
I know. We hope that people understand it differently a little bit. I mean, but you're right. No doubt it died. But our goal is to really bring a new face to this issue in terms of this immigrant population, this undocumented immigrant population. These young children are in our schools. They're in our communities. Federal government requires us to educate these children through high school. And, you know, a lot of these kids are excelling. They're top of the class. And all we're saying is that we want them to pay the in-state rate, not free tuition. They can't get financial assistance. They can't get grants. We're just saying instead of having them pay $31,000 as if they didn't live in Massachusetts, let's have them pay the $19,000.
Roughly half.
Yeah, that's all we're asking. And there's no there's no financial aid to it, so they still have to work and come up with that money.
Now, Representative, if this liberal-leaning senator, I hope it doesn't offend you,
no, not at all.
Let me read you something else and see if this does it for you. The fact is, you're either going to have to have givers or takers. If you're not going to educate and allow these kids to go through that process and become a giver because they've been educated, then I would suggest you've been focused on the wrong issue. You know who said that?
Who's that?
That would be Rick Perry, the governor of Texas. This year, he signed it into law. There's bipartisan support for this. These kids didn't do anything wrong. They were brought here as little children by their parents. You may be angry at their parents, but why punish a kid who sat next to your kid in a classroom for 10 years and, you know, tread the straight and narrow?
Well, I don't think we're trying to punish anybody. I think the question is, do we want to give a taxpayer discounted, subsidized rate to those who aren't legally in the country? And I want you to consider this, Jim. With someone who lives in New Hampshire, parents may work in Massachusetts, and that child has to pay out-of-state rates. Think about the...
Why don't you ask her about that one? That's a pretty good one.
No, I know,
so
but that's why...
The kid who's here illegally, even if it's through no fault of his or her own, gets the discounted rate. The person who lives in New Hampshire who's a citizen who wants to go to UMass because they have a special course, he or she's got to pay full freight.
That's
How's
right,
that fair?
they do. I say that they don't live in Massachusetts. That's why this particular legislation specifically saying that you have to reside in Massachusetts for at least 3 years and have graduated from our high school here in Massachusetts or received an equivalent of a diploma. And so I think it's really important, though, but I'm happy you said that because it is, when we talk about the economic vitality of Massachusetts, when we talk about the workforce, these young children are part of it. And so we're not asking for free money. We're not asking for taxpayer dollars. We're just saying that this is an opportunity. This is kids who are doing well in school, that have graduated and should have a chance to continue on.
Also, what's a kid supposed to, let's assume you're right on the merits for argument's sake. The kid graduates from high school, can't afford that $30-some thousand at UMass or even a lower rate at community college, doesn't get any college. How are they going to be a productive member of society? We may end up paying for them through the back door rather than letting them contribute. Isn't there merit to that?
Well, I think we ask the same question to the families of U.S. citizens living here in the Commonwealth who look at the skyrocketing price of education and say, I can't afford to send my kid to college, and my child can't afford to foot the bill on their own. What do those families do? And I think this is a fundamental issue of fairness. We talked about the situation with the New Hampshire resident. What about our U.S. veterans who maybe reside in Texas, come home, decide I want to move to Massachusetts to take advantage of their higher education? They come to Massachusetts, and they don't have to wait not 1 month, not 3 months, not 6 months. They have to wait a year
Why don't you
before
change
they
the law?
ever qualify.
Would you support a bill that shortened the period of time of an out-of-state veteran to be eligible for in-state tuition?
Let me tell you, I think if we do that now, because the veterans' benefits in Massachusetts, it's better than any other state in the country.
But what's the answer? Would you support his bill that he hasn't filed yet?
I have filed it.
Oh, you have filed it? Would you support that bill?
All right, then I will take a look at it.
Several times.
Has it really? Okay.
You know, the
We'll
other
take a
thing
look
is
at
Mike
it.
Widmer, who was sort of the saint of fiscal affairs, the head of the Mass Taxpayers Foundation. A couple of years ago, he spoke out about this, and he said not only is this not a net loss for Massachusetts, it's a net increase. He says a couple hundred kids a year can't afford to go to college, are going to go UMass benefits, the economy benefits. So even if you're right on the fairness front, Representative, on the economic, the bottom line front, people like Widmer say it's a win-win for Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, where it could become a real loss for Massachusetts is that by offering in-state tuition rates to illegal immigrants, we actually violate Section 1623 of Title 8 of the Federal Code, which says you cannot give a benefit to an illegal immigrant with education purposes if you don't offer the same benefit to any legal resident throughout the United States.
But wait a second, so there are almost 20, there are almost 20 states that are doing this.
That's right, 40%
of
the states in America.
Well, it's wait for the first lawsuit or UMass from someone who lives in New Hampshire that says, wait a minute, you're violating federal code.
Hey, if they want to move into Massachusetts for 3 years and participate in this program, then they can as well.
But Senator, what do you say to the parent whose kid is on the margin in terms of their academic skills? They don't make it in, and they say to you, my money, my seat is going to a kid, and I feel bad for him because the kid sat next to me in K through 12. That kid's getting my son's seat.
But this
what
is
do you
the
say
thing.
to them?
These kids are not getting extra benefits. They are getting into these universities by their own merit because they excelled in high school. I'm not saying take a kid who's failing in high school and giving them this benefit. No, these are kids who are excelling that we want to do well, that will contribute to our economy. 40% of the states in America have in-state tuition, red states and blue states, and it is a bipartisan effort. So we just need to get it together here in
patriotic red, you better watch out, Representative. Very quickly, I have 30 seconds left. This may be moot, even if you get the votes in the House. You're a senator. Is Baker on board, Charlie Baker on board here? I mean, Baker has softened his position from the older days when Deval Patrick followed the president's lead on these deferrals where you get work permits for certain kids. He said that he declared that they can get in-state tuition. Baker said, I'll continue. Would he sign this? Do you know?
I'm not prepared to speak on behalf of the governor. I know that the governor's taken a lot of critical issues early on in his administration. This is not one that we've spoken about.
Would Baker, as far as you know, let's assume you get the votes in the House, and then you can repeat what you did in the Senate in the past. Would the governor sign this?
I mean, I would hope so. But again, I look forward to having the conversation with Governor Baker to see, where he stands on this, because it's important. Over 90,000 jobs in Massachusetts are unfilled. We need to train people today, yes, Americans and folks who are documented, yes, but then there is this population. They're in our classrooms, they're in our neighborhoods, they're in our homes, they're our families, they're our friends. Let's let these kids just get educated.
Senator Dorecena Forry, good to see you.
Thank you,
Representative, next time, if you wear blue and she wears red, it's like a cross. Think about it for a while. Good to see you.